Hey, welcome everybody. We are back on our weekly session on our Deal Maker's Life. We got a really awesome topic for you, and so we're gonna fly through some of these introduction slides real quick, and then we'll kind of really get into our key topic today. So, real quick, if you're not familiar with our new site yet, we got a daily brief on real estate investment related news. This is kind of aggregated on a daily basis. Really cool source to get information that's going to affect our investment career. So I see this as a really important resource for everybody. So you can scan the QR code and study this more. It'll get refreshed every day. We're also now offering foreclosure data in 23 states now. So if any of these markets you're actively, living in or investing in, certainly there are offerings here for you for your marketing. And then obviously you can go to our website, which is the source for deals, leads, and classes and everything else. Everything we share here is for experience sharing only, and we don't offer investment, financial, or legal advice. Let me just kind of real quick share some market update to get us started. Okay, home builders are now calling for lowering interest rates. The interest rates are, the consensus is that it's too high. They want to advocate for a lower interest rate that can increase buying demand for housing. They're arguing that elevated borrowing costs are limiting new construction. In a related news, the Fed decided to keep the interest rate as is, and the response from the mortgage world is that it has gone up a little bit more to 6.76%. There is continually inflation concerns, and treasury yields are continually pushing the mortgage rates upward. So now a 9% interest rate doesn't really seem that high anymore, does it? AI stocks are continually driving the market performance. We're seeing, folks are continually being optimistic about the AI economic impact for long term. But now there's also, concern about, are they like being overvalued? And is there going to be a bubble and a crash? So something to kind of keep in mind of. Okay, without further ado, I do want to really save us the time to go over our special topic today. Our conversation is going to be really important because, many of us are marketing to pre-foreclosure sellers. It's actually, one of our favorite type of distress sellers. And we know why they matter. These are homeowners that are facing real pressure. And if they don't find a solution, they're going to lose their house at the auction. But as we start talking to them and doing outreach and all that, we run into a really big problem. A lot of these houses don't have enough equity for a traditional investor offer, and the normal 70% rule doesn't work in this case. And a cash offer doesn't work, and a wholesale deal may not work on paper. There's no deal if there's no equity, and that's why we need to really understand this topic on creative financing and subject to, because it gives us another way to really look at these distressed leads. Instead of walking away because there's not enough equity, we can ask better questions, learn about the existing loan and the payment amount, and we can, figure out a way to help the sellers avoid foreclosure and protect their credit. So, those are the benefits. Now, I'm very excited to introduce our next speakers, Chris and Rachel. We have had them speak on our platform before, and they share a lot of their experience and teaching as well. Chris and Rachel are active real estate investors, coaches, and leaders behind the Candid REI in the Houston, Katy area. They are hands-on in real estate coaching, field training, and they help investors build real lasting success. Their mission, which I really love, is about making real estate investing clear, practical, and accessible. And that's going through coaching, speaking, and working with real estate investors that are first-time investors. So if you love kind of what they're sharing today, we're gonna have a way for you to reach out to them and work with them. And they're not just talking about theory; they're actively investing in the market. They are teaching, right? And over the years, I thought it was very impressive that they have built a portfolio of over 30 properties, so they are earning passive income. And that means they have seen deals from the classroom and also from the real world. And I thought, with all that experience, it would be really nice for them to speak and share their experience in the sub 2 transaction. I actually have some questions for you guys as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce you both on stage. Hey, Chris, Rachel. Cheers. You guys on mute?
Yeah.
There we go. Hi.
Welcome. I don't know if you guys have slides, but I'm gonna take off mine.
Okay.
And I will yield the stage to you. So yours.
Okay. Let's see if I can
Cheers.
get this
Welcome.
going again. Thank you for the introduction. Give me a sec.
And don't mind us. We feel we look funny on the camera.
Yeah. Can you see this?
Yep, we see you.
Okay.
We see you, and we see your slides.
Okay. Let me make sure. Oops, I don't know what that is. Okay. All right. So I wanted the whole screen, but it's not. Okay, here we go. Okay. So let me start from the beginning. Okay, so this is us. I'm Chris, I should say.
He's gonna say Rachel.
And this is Rachel. So we are the owners of Candid REI Coaching, and our slogan is real estate for real people. We feel that anyone can do real estate, no matter where you come from, what you do, what you've done. Even if you do this part-time, it is accessible to everyone. So you'll find a couple of QR codes here. The one to the right is the one to our Facebook. The one to our left is to be able to get in, and once you log in, you will be able to get all the updates to where we're going to be and doing presentations or whatnot. So we're really excited about it. All right.
So one of the misconceptions that we wanted, well, this is what you're going to learn about. You're going to learn how subject to actually works and when it's the right tool, because it all depends, right? Every property is different. Every homeowner is different. So we're going to give you a few scenarios of when subject to does really work and how realtors and investors can collaborate. I know that a lot of the audience sometimes is realtors, which is great because we could truly work together. We find that we work really well with realtors and we complement each other very well. And then what some exit strategies can be when there's pitfalls and just best practices on when to pivot and so forth. So,
all right. So, of course, important disclaimer, everything we share is for educational purposes only. This is not legal, financial, or tax advice. We're not attorneys, CPAs, financial planners. Before making any decisions, always contact your professionals for this. Results vary and success is not guaranteed, but we take action. So the students we highlight and talk about are not typical investors. They put the work in and get the results. The truth is most people don't ever take action, therefore they don't see the results. But I know everyone here is taking action, hence why you're here. So what subject to really is, again, this is one of our favorites because it allows us to be able to help more homeowners, which in turn helps us. And depending on the exit strategy, it all depends on each property. So it's not black or white, you can do this or this and nothing else. It just really depends on everything else. And no matter what the market is doing, this allows us to still do deals.
Right. And there is a lot of gray area. And unfortunately, we wish it was black and white, because we could just say, you do it this and you do this and you do that, and that's it. But unfortunately, it just, a lot of the questions that sometimes we get when it comes to subject to is like, well, it kind of depends on this and this and this. And, but that's why we love coaching, because we could really get into specific details with different properties, different people, and give different suggestions. But we're going to try and give you as much black and white as possible.
So, but here, it's often confused with loan assumptions, sometimes incorrectly labeled as mortgage fraud. I'm sure everyone has heard it, especially when we speak to different audiences, and especially realtors, which bad, good. It's just everyone doesn't know all the details to how this works. So once everyone gets educated, then it makes more sense. So this is why we're here. So it really is poorly misunderstood, but after today, it's not going to be. So what actually happens? We'll start on the upper left. It's the deed transfers. So the ownership transfers to the buyer, which means whenever the tax, you go and see who owns the property on taxes, you're going to see your name, right? Because you are the new buyer. Okay. The loan stays in place. What does that mean? That means that the seller, the homeowner, their name stays on it. So the existing mortgage stays in place, interest rate, payment schedule, maturity date, everything stays the same on that. Also, extremely, extremely important that it will and does affect the seller, the original seller, homeowner's credit. Therefore, we always make sure that the mortgages get paid, because doing a subject to deal requires a ton of trust from the seller and us. We both have to work together. So always make sure that that's number one. And who makes the payments? Well, the seller's not going to make the payments anymore. They're gone. They're out of here. So we, right, the end buyers, or wherever the end buyer is, will make the payment. So we agree to make all the payments just as is, whatever the mortgage company says, and the lender is generally not notified. Okay. What does not happen? We're not refinancing, guys. Remember, we're not refinancing. No new loan is created at closing. We don't need any lender approvals, right? We don't need to call the lender. We don't need to go get our own financing. The rate does not change. Again, the interest rate stays the same as is. No liability transfers, which means the seller remains primarily liable to the lender, and no payoff. We don't have to pay off the mortgage when we close. Extremely important, because we always get paid. We always get asked, do we have to pay it off? No. And it's becoming on the bottom, yellow highlighted, it's becoming alarming how many inexperienced investors use this strategy without knowing the risks, putting their own wealth and, more importantly, sellers in danger by being too far of a cavalier, right? And so we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we understand these from beginning to end.
So subject to versus loan assumption, I'm not going to go through all of them, because we definitely want to cut back on a little bit of the time. But I think one of the, like Chris said, the title does transfer in a subject to, and as well as it does in a loan assumption, because that loan assumption, the bank already agreed, okay, you're going to buy this house, I'm going to transfer everything to you, and you're going to be the one responsible, right? But in the subject to, the bank doesn't know really what's going on. The loan ownership in a subject to deal, the prior, or the person you're getting it from, in this case, we'll just speak of foreclosure, the person that's losing it in foreclosure, the loan is going to stay in their name. In a loan assumption, it transfers. So the payment responsibility for both types of thing is the new person, right? Even though the loan stays under the other person's, the foreclosed person's name, the new buyer is still responsible in both scenarios. One of the most important ones, that's why it's highlighted, is that the liability, always remember that the person that went through foreclosure is still liable. And I mean, they've already been through a lot. And this is one of the things that we like to reiterate, they've been through a lot. Some of them have medical situations. Some of them have lost family members, divorces. You definitely don't want to be that investor that puts them through more by not making that payment. And then I'll skip to the timeline. The reason why we love subject to, well, there's lots of reasons, but one of the reasons why we love it so much is because the time frame of it. It can happen so quickly, right? Because you definitely don't need a bank to approve it. You don't need really much to get it approved. As long as your ducks are in order and so forth, you can get it done quickly, which is what people that are in foreclosure need. They need something that can be done quickly. They don't need for you to get approval or to go get a different loan or anything like that. They need help as quickly as possible. And then one of the other things that we love about it is that your interest rate stays the same. So whatever it is that that loan had follows you, right? It comes with you. So most people, even if it was 2-3 years ago, I mean, interest rates were much lower than they are now. So
COVID, yeah.
that's one of the benefits. Yeah, during COVID time, I mean, what were they, like 2% at that time?
3%.
So that would be amazing if you get one of those properties and one of the homeowners agrees to do a subject to with you, then you have a loan with a pretty much non-existing interest rate anymore. So that's amazing. And we want to tell you, I guess, when a loan assumption would be better for people, because you also have to think about people, right? This person, what situation they're in. And yes, although we love subject to, it's not always going to be our final decision, our final answer, our final, hey, this is what we could do with you for you, because they need options. So when a seller may need a loan assumption as opposed to a subject to is when they want to just be released of the liability, right? They want nothing to have to do with it. Let's say somebody's getting divorced, it's under both of their names. They can't see each other anymore. They have, I don't know, just out of the ordinary situations where they can't have anything to do with each other. That might be a situation. A buyer has a strong credit and can survive the 90 to 120 day underwriting. So maybe if they know way ahead of time that they're going to go into foreclosure, you could discuss possibly a loan assumption as opposed to a subject to, because it gives you enough time to speak to the bank and then review all of your documentation to make sure that you could keep the loan and so forth. So loan is FHA, VA, or USDA, formally assumable by design. That may be a situation, although subject to works with all of them. So it's not, you can't do subject to, it's just maybe depending on the person, right? When you might want to do a loan assumption instead. And when time is not critical in the transaction. But with foreclosures, we know that it always is. So subject to, like I say, is usually something we try to strive for because it just fixes so many problems.
And some will want to do the loan assumption, but again, you got to qualify, you got to go through all the paperwork and the bank approvals and all of that. But subject to, we find that's a lot faster, especially for the foreclosures.
So as you can see, there are differences. And so for the people that think, oh, well, it's just a loan assumption. No, it's a little bit different. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, as you can see, but there are some differences. So we just kind of wanted to clear that up real quick.
All right. And when is it right for the homeowners? Again, I know we all want to do deals. We all want to. And so we try to push, square peg in a round hole, you know how they say that, and try to make it work. And sometimes, it might work, and sometimes it's just not the right thing to do. Whenever we go speak to homeowners, we always listen to what they need first, what they're going through, what they need. And even though, we might go in with dollar signs in our eyes, like the cartoons, the truth is that it may not work out for them, which in turn is not going to work out for us. And we always make sure that it's going to be a win-win situation, because if the homeowner, the seller, is at ease, we know we can sleep comfortably without them calling us in the middle of the night, yelling and screaming, saying, I made a big, mistake, and, I don't want to go through with it. So we always do that. So when is it the right solution? Divorce. Um, you may not know of people who have been divorced, and some can walk away and say, hey, you know, okay, we tried, we're done. And some just cannot stand one another, right? Um, and it just depends. If they are still in communication and they're able to work together, and the courts allow them to sell it, you know, not owner finance, subject to, then they can sell it. Or on the other half of that is sometimes the courts will say, this is your court appointed realtor, or this is the realtor you're going to use, right? You need to use a realtor, no investors, no nothing like that. But when we're able to come in for the divorces, if everyone's, you know, willing to sign at closing and everything else, it actually works out pretty good for us. They want nothing to do with the house nor to do with each other, and we're able to come in. Medical hardship. A lot of these homeowners are going through something, guys. I know a lot of people, you know, go in and are emotionally drained after the appointments, but we just got to listen to them. A lot of people do go through stuff. Life happens to us, life happens to you guys. So, you know, sometimes it hits harder for other people. Retirement, those who are downsizing, right? These are the people that maybe aren't in foreclosure, but hey, I just need to move, you know, my grandkids or somewhere else, or maybe I just need a smaller house. Death, unfortunately, this happens every single day. And we do speak to a lot of homeowners, heirs that have, you know, received the property and just need to get rid of it for whatever reason. They can't do the repairs. Maybe they can't just afford it, right? Personally, relocation and military, job transfers, anything like that. That's who this is good for as well. Burned out landlords. I mean, there's a ton, especially, you know, through the COVID, through the years, people in taxes and insurance, you know, going up all the time. So a lot of them just want to get rid of the houses already.
So when is it the right solution? So like we mentioned before, little or no equity. It's most people want out of the deal, right? I think 90% of the people would rather just walk away, have nothing to do with it. But if you look at the property, you see the value of it, you think about what you could possibly sell it for, it doesn't make sense, right? Because there's no equity in the property. But you also get like a heart tug and you're like, oh, I really want to help this person. Well, subject to can be, I guess, the answer for it. That's really, I guess that's.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we
walked away from a lot of
because we didn't understand exactly how it worked. And a lot of people do walk away from these. They say, oh, no, there's no equity. You know, there's only 1,000, 2,000, you know, 0,000s, you know, there's just zero money into it. And it's very intimidating, especially if you're new and you walk into a property, look at your ARV, you're running comps and see, what the heck? There's no way I can make this work. Mm-hmm. But those that are experienced, they look at it as, hey, this is just a different strategy, right? Different exit strategy, different opportunities at the end. So it does require cash to close, mm-hmm. and whether it has equity or not, right? And it's hard to understand. Well, I'm going to buy a house and has zero equity. Well, you kind of buy a brand new house, right? Or you go buy a regular house for yourself with pretty much no equity, depending on the deal. So.
Right. So if people are behind on payments or if they're going through foreclosure, that's a perfect opportunity as well, because the person is in a bind, right? So you're definitely not preying on people that are in situations, but it provides a solution for their problem. So because they need it done immediately, and every day definitely does matter with these people. So that's a perfect scenario. It's not going to work with somebody that, let's just say, they know what their house can sell for and they can still afford it. They don't need to sell it quickly. So you need a special person that's in a special situation who has no one else to turn to, and it works out for both of you. If they can't afford repairs, Chris mentioned earlier, we've run into the situation where kids inherit their parents' houses, right? And they may have equity, maybe just not a whole ton of it, but they still have equity. But then they turn around and look at it. We've run into the situation where we've had lots of people pass that have been hoarders. And the poor kids, they don't know where to start. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's a difficult situation. Their parents just passed, and it's just too much for them. So that's a perfect scenario to mention to them, okay, well, if you could do this for me, sell it to me subject to, I will take care of everything for you, because you do indeed do that.
I remember that one that we had, that hoarder, every room, every bedroom, living room. The living room was so bad. They had old shaggy green, red carpet. Yeah. And so because he hoarded so badly or much that you could only see where he walked. There was a trail, and he walked through that trail for years. And they took about a month, right? They said, let me look through all my father's stuff, and then you can get rid of whatever you want at the end. And we said, okay, well, a week, right? They said, and then it turned into 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and after 4 weeks, they said, I can't do this anymore. Just, we're done with it. So
sweetest family.
Yes.
It was just overwhelming for them. So this is a situation where subject to works. Payment is no longer affordable and unable to sell. So we had a different scenario. I'll share this one, where it was a beautiful home. No equity, because they had bought it maybe like 2 years before. 2 years before, it was supposed to be like a couple. It was a boyfriend, girlfriend moving into a brand new home together, and something happened, and they broke up, and it was just too much. It was too much for her to stay in the house that she planned on creating a family in. So she tried to sell it in the market. And she had it on the market for months and months and months, and saw no interest. And she was priced right. It wasn't even like overly priced or anything. And it took a lot of explaining, like, it's not going to make a difference. You can leave it on there for a year. And right now the market it is what it is. And I mean, that's when we took it over subject to. So that's a perfect scenario too. Just they have something going on where they can't be at that house any longer. There's not a lot of equity, and for us, it's more of a long-term strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And again, whenever we go into these houses, just like it says on the bottom, we're listening to what they need first before our needs and wants. Okay. All right. When is it the right solution for investors? Well, obviously we want the best rate, period. We all want to pay the least amount for every single thing, right? And this is the perfect time. So the typical interest rates that we're looking are started at about 2 to 5, 2 to 4, just really depends in that range. Now we will go after those that are 6, or it just all depends on the loan and everything else. So we can definitely afford an interest rate of monthly payments with an interest rate of 3%, better than 6% instead of being a double. The loan remaining, we always look at how long again is left, how many years is left on the loan, and how motivated the sellers are for this, right? So if you look on the right hand side, 3%. I mean, can you imagine getting a 3% now? I mean, I can imagine it, but it's not going to happen, right? In today's markets, averaging, as Steve said earlier, about 6-7% here, and the seller finance notes is $30.3 billion. I mean, people are making a ton of money, so we need a little piece of that too, right? And the last one, 89.890 or 89,000 transactions, seller finance deals. I mean, there's just a ton of opportunity out there, and here we're seeing that the foreclosures are increasing
right
too.
So which means that subject to deals, if you haven't believed in them before, believe in them, because I mean, they do take investors out of binds, and they do take the seller out of binds as well. So it definitely is a win-win situation. It's all about trust. We'll say that over and over and over. But once you build that trust with them, and if you are forthcoming and intend to do what you're promising, then it's obviously the numbers don't lie. It's going to work for both parties.
Yep.
So when is it not the right solution? If there's way too much equity and the person is just like, nope, I want my equity. at that point in time, you're probably better off doing a cash offer, right? The strong
or in the market, yeah,
right.
Depends, yeah.
Strong sellers market. That's when we've done this plenty of times. We see that the house is nice, and we really do just say, hey, you know what? You're probably better off putting it on the market. And we will refer them to some of our realtor friends that can take care of them. Because I don't know, you always want to do what's best for the person. Poor financing terms. If you get somebody that got bad credit when they bought the house and they got, let's say, a 10% interest, it's probably not the best option for you.
Sometimes those owner finance deals, right, that they get 10, 12, 14, 18%.
Yeah, we've seen
or arms. Yeah.
Right. So you not necessarily want to walk away from that, but don't do a subject to deal. Buy them out, or
if it's a deal.
Right. If it's a deal. Refinance it, whatever the case may be. So if it's an easy retail sale, like I said before, refer them out. Investor cannot safely cash flow. Yeah, don't put yourself in the hole. I mean, look at your numbers. Numbers are obviously really, really important. And if the seller wants top dollar. So, okay.
And then here, everyone talks about this due on sale clause. What does it mean? It means that if you are doing subject twos and the current mortgage, right, because you're taking over that mortgage, investigates and sees, hey, well, it was under Joe's, name, and now it's under Rachel's name. What's going on here? Well, it happens. We already know which mortgage companies, well, it depends, right? Some of them, and they will call it due, which means you have to pay it off immediately, right? They give you just a little bit of time. You got to do that. People try to hide and I don't know, manipulate paperwork. They're going to find out. They're going to find out. So it happens.
Right. So I think one of the biggest things that we like to mention is for investors to be completely honest with the seller, and to just for everything, but especially to avoid this, because let's just say you're kind of shady and you kind of slip it in like, oh, the loan's going to stay in your name. And they don't really understand that, right? We have a lot of people that are just distressed and they don't understand what's going on, and they're just willing to sign because they don't know what else to do. So if you as an investor are a little bit shady about the way you do it, then in 3 months, which is none of you here. Right, nobody. But in 3 months, they're gonna keep on getting their statements or something, and they're gonna pull their credit, and then they're gonna see that loan is still under their name. And what's the first thing that they're gonna do? I'm sure they're not gonna call you. They're gonna call the bank. And then they're going to say, what do you mean this loan is still in my name? I sold the property 3 months ago. And then ding, 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 the bank is going to be like, what do you mean? And this is when it's going to happen, the due on sale clause. And it's not going to be their fault. It's just that if you didn't tell them properly, I mean, that's what they're going to do. So.
Yeah. So never force the wrong structure. Always do what's in the seller's best interest. One bad deal can damage your trust with sellers and your reputation, guys. And we are very, very particular with keeping that intact for us.
So I think, I don't know if this is kind of going over the same things, but things to evaluate: the interest rate, the balance versus the property value, how much the monthly payments are. Keep in mind that depending on what your exit strategy is, somebody's going to have to be making these payments. So if you can't afford to make these payments, then you should probably walk away. But if you can, so more power to you. Keep doing it. The remaining loan amount, is that something that you're comfortable with? The escrow status, are the taxes current? Is the insurance current? Once you take over the property, find out about the insurance ahead of time. See if it's going to work for you. And then what type of mortgage it is. So,
and the HOAs, right. HOA fees, guys, always HOAs.
Big one. Yeah. And then just take a look at the property. Never buy a property without looking at it. Pictures are great, but not everybody's that honest. So take a look at the condition, its repairs, its rentals in the area. School districts are important to a lot of people. the HOA fees, like Chris said, and so on and so forth. We're trying to hurry now.
And how to spot a profitable subject to. So just the motivation, guys. It starts with the motivation, the goals. It goes not only for them but for us. The timeline is key, right? I mean, foreclosures already next week. Last night we had a networking event to go to, but we got a call say, hey, we gotta go help out this homeowner. So we're on it. So all this weekend we'll be busy. Financial situation on the right side. Some people purchase properties without cash flowing now because they see in the future 2, 3, 5 years from now that it'll appreciate, and that's okay. Every investor is very different. So make sure you have enough in reserves, different exit strategies, not just one, right? And remember, you have to pay the mortgage. So I would hope that you have, holding costs and everything else. For realtors don't have to become investors, guys. We work very well with realtors because we refer back and forth. We help each other out, right? They just need to simply recognize that there is another solution for this. So if you're a realtor and you're on here and you say, oh, this is a bunch of crap, I hate this, investors are, crooked. Hey, this is just a different way for you if you can't put it on the market, or shouldn't put it on the market. But traditional, mindset, realtors just want to list it and keep reducing the price, in hopes it sells. But it's not going to sell, I promise you, right before foreclosure. You'd be extremely lucky if it does. So just ask better questions, understand the goals of the seller, and build that investor relationship. So on the right side here, again, we want to make sure that you have enough time as a realtor to sell it. If the person says, hey, I just lost my job, it's going to get rough for me in the next few months, and then this is probably the best thing for you. Or you can, make cash offers. Investors can come in with different strategies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the realtors are going to know what's best, or we hope that they'll know what's best. And if they can't help them, just say, you know what, I'd rather pass it on to somebody else, and then we can help one another out. Hey, you help me, I help you. Some kind of fee,
what we like to do is that once we fix the house and so forth, then we will list it with them.
Yeah,
things like that. Always look out for each other.
So why realtors need investors?
Just like we mentioned, referrals, saving transactions. I think that's the most important out of all of these things. I mean, it's really about helping that one person avoid the horrible situation of foreclosure, because foreclosure is going to stay with you for so long. Mm-hmm. And it's going to affect so many other things in your life. So that's, I would say, out of all this, which you can definitely take a look at it, out of all of it, it's the most important thing is saving those people from going through a foreclosure, and other great things are going to come from it for you as a realtor, as an investor. And
the realtors have MLS expertise. They can help guide, especially if they know that area very well. They can help us and say, hey, this is what you should look for, what you shouldn't look for. Days on market. Remember, it might be a good deal, but then you look at days on market.
So working together as investors, foreclosures, don't list the property. Don't list the property if it's under foreclosure. The numbers will probably not support whatever the prices are saying, right? Reach out to an investor, and
someone you trust, right? Those that you can trust.
If it's something that we could do to help them, we're definitely going to do it. And we never forget about the realtor. If you don't reach out, it could be a missed opportunity, one, to have that relationship with investors and realtors, vice versa. And the person's going to miss out. And that's,
we always just say, if it's not we don't expect every deal to be a slam dunk, but if I can make 1, 2, 3,000 from each deal, times 10, I'd rather do that. I'd rather make a little something than nothing. Right. And that's just our mindset. We're not HGTV where, in an hour you buy the property, you put in $100,000 or $1 million, whatever it is, and then you sell it for 6 figures, 200,000-300,000 profit. Some investors are like that, where I need minimum 20, 30, 50, $100,000. But if we can make 2, 3, 5 grand here and there, 2, 3 times a month, times 12 months, I mean, that thing adds up.
And neither way is wrong.
Yeah, neither way is wrong. Just everyone's different.
Mm-hmm. So common pitfalls, buying every deal, right? So if the numbers just don't make sense, just walk away from it.
You still need to run numbers, like Steve said earlier. We still need to run our ARVs and see if they're upside down and all of that. So just because the interest rates attractive doesn't mean that it works for every single deal.
Yeah. And then if you stop paying, the lender comes after the seller. Remember that. Please remember that. We actually know someone who, a dear friend of ours, who that actually happened to him before we met him and so forth. He needed to move. Somebody pitched him subject to. It sounded great at the time. 10 years later, they decided to keep the property. That was their exit strategy. I don't know what they did with it, but they decided to keep the property. 10 years later, our friend started getting phone calls from the bank saying that you're going under foreclosure, you're going to lose the property. And he was like, what are you talking about? And that's exactly what happened. They took back the property from the next person, but it affected his credit. So it was just horrible. And then once he needed to move from here, our area, he didn't want to go with an investor anymore. He was like, no, I don't trust investors. He just went ahead and sold it.
So common pitfalls for the upper right, the poor seller communication. You have to tell the seller what's going on. They have to agree. They still have to come to the signing table, right? Just remember that. Exit strategy. Some people just get it subject to and think, well, that's it. Well, that's not it. What are you going to do with it? What happens if you can't, sell it or something? Insurance errors, guys. Insurance is going up everywhere, and some insurance companies are pulling out of different markets. So we want to make sure that you are looking at that. Other ones that realtors make mistakes over is just, again, not every seller should put their property on the market. And I know everybody wants, to try to, let's see if we can, but the truth is it's not going to work. We see it time and time and time and time again that it's just not working out.
Right. And as investors, if you get a phone call from a homeowner and they're like, oh, I'm ready to sell it to an investor, but I already have it on the market. Well, good luck. Good luck. No, I mean, you can think of something creative and if that realtor is willing to talk to you, talk to them, come up with a deal, discuss it and so forth, because there's always a solution to everything. You just have to talk to each other. So.
All right. Best practices. Always listen to the homeowner first, understand exactly what they need, what they want, and educate second, right? You're going to educate them, let them know exactly what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. We are going to present multiple offers. So if it's best just to do, a cash offer or subject to or whatever it is, we're going to do that. Communicate clearly and often. We are going to have, make sure that we are updating the seller with what we're doing, and use professional documentation, not just one of those one pagers, I promise to pay. We always use track contracts. We always go through title companies because we want to protect homeowners and our reputation. Because as big as this world is and as big as investing is, Houston, I don't care where you're watching from, it's a very small town, very small, group of people. So these are just real world case studies. The breakup house, I think Rachel talked about that. Families facing foreclosures. These are the deals that we deal with. One in Converse where subject to, the kids were already grown, they moved out, they just hit some hard times, and in this case, were able to give them some money, and they walked away, and they were happy, and they went to Disneyland?
Yeah, Disney World. He always gets those confused.
Yes, I always get confused.
We mentioned to you our neighbor friend, and then just walking away from deals. Not every distressed situation is a subject to deal. Right. So keep that in mind. I mean, subject to is wonderful. I hope you understand how great it is because we love it. It's a win-win for both people most of the time, but sometimes it
might not work out.
It might not work out.
And just remember, the best deal you ever do might be the one you walked away from, because we don't want to get in trouble. So key takeaways again, just match the tool to the solution. Every homeowner deserves options. Realtors who know more serve more, and so do we, right? That's for both investors. You have creative financing solves problems, right? There's a ton of people pitching this, but you have to know how to do it the right way. I'm telling you guys, you have to do it the right way. Look for solutions, not just or situations, not just houses, and listen to people. And our next monthly meetup is on August 13th here in Katy at Rudy's Barbecue on Alpha 10 in Mason. So we have our meetups typically second or third Thursday of the month, depending on when Rudy is available. And just a little bit about who we are for those who don't know us. We are real estate investors, real estate coaches, and we do construction, remodeling, new builds, and everything else.
So we kind of know every spectrum of it, right? So if you have, let's say you're one of our students, this is what we love the most. Let's say you're one of our students and you have a lead and you don't know how to close it. So, and you make an appointment with us and you say, hey, let's go to this appointment. So Chris or I, or both, if we both can escape, we'll go with you and talk to the homeowner. And I make it really simple. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Or if you have a lead that you haven't quite put under contract, we can call them with you and so forth. And then once we're there, I mean, we can go over things like construction cost. So we do a little bit of everything because we're actually still doing this. So we can tell you for sure, like, oh, this is going to be 50,000. So let's factor this in and so forth. So
so we're experiencing multiple real estate strategies. We've coached dozens and dozens of students, individuals, couples, and families. We're really, really, really big on families. So for those who know us, family is very important to us. Doesn't matter where you start. If you're brand new, don't even know how to spell real estate, doesn't matter. We start from there and go. We are authors, educators, and speakers. So we've been featured at different high schools, colleges. We do webinars, obviously, here, podcasts, and real estate events all across. Most importantly, this is stuff that we don't advertise, but we do mentor at-risk youth. We provide workforce development, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship training to the next generation using real estate as a vehicle because of where we grew up poor and homeless, and we grew up, pretty,
So if anybody that's watching has a resource that you might want us to do something with, please let us know.
Schools we can go. So our mission is helping families solve problems, build true generational wealth, and create financial freedom through ethical real estate investing and education. So our greatest success is businesses that don't just create income. I mean, income, money, we all need it. It's great. But they give us the freedom to spend more time with our family while helping others. So thousands of conversations, hundreds of properties analyzed, countless lives impacted through education, investing, and service. So why we do what we do, we don't just believe that real estate changes lives. We believe the right opportunities, education, and relationships do. Our mission is simple: help families solve problems, build generational wealth, and create one thing that money can't buy back: time with the people that matter the most. And so just what is your why, right? Some of you want the big fancy, cars, which I would love one, or maybe the yachts or stuff. Ours, if you see in the middle, of course, it's just more time with the family. So the advantage that we have with us is we teach you real world stuff. We're not just going to give you a bunch of videos, say, here, let us know if you have questions. We're going to be in there with you. We're not wasting your time, guys. We don't waste time. We got to go fast. So fast track learning, we're going to start from day one, teaching you how to do it. And you get two of us, not just one of us, right? You get two of us ready to go. And this is all we do. So we love what we do, obviously. So we'll walk you through deals, analyze numbers, guide your marketing, support negotiations, and build your systems. And this is a thank you. So this is a QR code for a complimentary 20-minute call with us to see if this is a good fit for you and us. And we are good.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel and Chris. Hey, so we got some questions for you here. What mistakes do new investors usually make when they buy a subject to?
What mistake?
Yeah.
Oh,
especially
they don't.
When they're, because I guess, one of the key advantage is taking over the, being able to take over a low interest loan that you just can't get these days. What would be some common mistakes that they need to be aware of?
So there's a lot.
Not changing out the insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the big ones, because you got to include yourself in that insurance.
Well, not only that, but everybody thinks just because it has a low interest rate that it's a deal, and it really isn't. Right? It's not a deal because there's other nuances, other details in the background that we don't know, right? Especially when you open up title, there might be a ton of liens, and you think you're getting it for 100 grand and it's worth 200. Then you look at title and everything else is just,
right. So I
out of whack.
guess one of the biggest things that we had mentioned earlier is put your ducks in a row. And one of the things that we always say is close through a title company. I know a lot of people out there don't, because they want to save the extra $2,000, $3,000, whatever the case may be. But we strongly recommend you closing with the title company.
Mhm.
So you find those mistakes, you find those errors, you find those liens. And then, yeah, I would say insurance is one of the big mistakes that people do. Not looking at taxes, not looking at taxes in the area, because those taxes could make or break a deal too. I mean, it makes the payments so high. Get the breakdown of what your payments are. And I think one of the biggest ones, well, at least for us, the way we do things is taking on too many of them if you can't pay for them.
Yeah.
Because if something doesn't go as expected, I mean, you still need to pay for them.
Yeah.
So if you can't comfortably say, oh, it's all right if something happens, if I don't sell it in time, or if I don't rent it, or whatever your exit strategy is going to be, you have to make sure that you have enough money to pay that monthly payment for them. So that's what I think is the biggest mistakes.
I actually have a more kind of maybe more personal question, because we're working on this deal in Houston, and it's the rat infested house that you guys are looking into purchasing. Would you share with us, as buyers, this house kind of have negative equity, right? After we account for everything, why would that still be a attractive deal for you for acquisition?
So for that one, so for those don't know, they haven't seen pictures. We went and
we didn't see the real rat though. We just see evidence.
Well, we see, and when we say evidence, Steve, I don't think people understand. Evidence is literally like every corner of the house is full of it. I mean, they have furniture there, they have cabinets open, like every single shelf is full of it. Every bed that they left is full of it. So it's bad. And so I remember the last time we were there, we've been there a few times just to make sure of certain things. But aside from clean, it's not in a horrible neighborhood. It's just they didn't take care of it, and that's the issue. It's attractive because we know the area. First of all, we know the area. Okay, we know what exit strategies we can utilize for this one, even though it doesn't have a ton of equity or might have a little bit of negative equity. With the exit strategies that we know, we can kind of recoup some of that money that we're going to spend. But again, this is all about knowing how to navigate through the different markets and the different houses. Now, we are still waiting for a few things, right? And if all that turns out perfectly fine, then we'll move forward. If not, although we love you, Steve, we love other people, we're just going to say no. And it's nothing personal.
But
it needs to be a good deal.
Yes, it has to make sense.
It needs to work out for you.
Right. And I think that was one of the ones that we mentioned earlier. Just look into like HOA, and that's what we're waiting on. So look at your HOA costs. Because I mean, like this particular property, it's the outside. We know they've got an HOA fees.
Yeah. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done to it. I mean, we had to put electricity on, the AC's bad, it's all, the ducts are infested with rat, and that costs money. That costs not hundreds, but thousands. Right, because if we have to replace all the ducts. But
we're really the type of investors that look at things, and again, like we say, it's okay to be a different type of investor, and everybody's fine because everybody works differently. But I think it's more of a long term.
Yes.
That's really the only reason why it would work for us, because it's a long term goal. It's not something that's going to be even in a year, maybe.
No, that's not.
So
but over time,
over time.
Yes, over time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, over time it pays off. So, how much money should an investor expect to bring to purchase a sub-2 deal?
We were asked this question, and it depends on the property. It depends on the situation. But I think if you asked us this in 2018, we'd be like 15,000.
Yeah,
You should be
10,000,
good.
15. Man, we were buying properties at 10, 15 grand, 5 grand, 20 grand. Now they're double, triple. We've seen them as much as, over 6 figures, over $100,000 that people get behind it. We always say, man, I want that mortgage company. Right? So
That doesn't kick you out.
Yeah, that I can go 100 grand in the hole and just be fine.
But I think
30 grand.
if you're lucky, if you get a good one, I think minimum nowadays is like 30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. 30 on up, right? And it just depends. Yeah, again, you got to do all the numbers. But yeah, start at about 30 grand.
And that's still good. I mean, for the market today, I think 30,000 is, I guess, kind of reasonable.
It's still less than 20%.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's an easier way to kind of acquire, and you're leveraging someone else's credit.
Yeah. If you get a $30,000 one, it's like, those don't come very often anymore. So
how does Sub2 help? Hold on. That's where I think we already covered that one. What are the biggest risks to buyers when buying a subject to?
Well, the biggest one would be the sellers, and then the mortgage, because the sellers, you never know what a seller is going to do or say, especially if they're too emotional. And then the bank, right? So it starts with the seller, then the bank can come after us. And that's really what it is. Aside from those risks, I mean, this is why we run our numbers the way we do and make sure that it's a good deal. Because if we don't have 2 or 3 exit strategies, we're not going to do it, because we can't get stuck with it. We're not in the business to lose. And all our students that we teach, we're not losing. We're not taking a chance in hopes, that the market's going to do well. But that's what I would say is just the seller not understanding correctly and then going back and say, hey, what the heck, you screwed me.
I think the biggest risk is the bank asking you to pay it off, right? Mm-hmm. If they see that deed transferred, and
especially if you don't have lenders.
Yeah, if they see that deed transferred over and they want it paid in full, I would say that's the biggest risk, because everything else isn't a huge risk. You could kind of figure it out. But let's say they say, hey, you need to pay off this mortgage and it's $250,000. Well, and even then, I mean, I guess if you have good credit, if you have a 9-to-5 job, that you could go to the bank and say, I want to get a loan for this. Or if you have loan companies like we do and that are willing to loan you for it, then it's, again, not a huge risk either. It's just you have to change the way you thought about it first. So,
right. And there are ways to navigate that. And I'm sure you guys
absolutely.
And that comes through experience, right?
Right. So there's solutions for everything. It's just it's alarming when it first happens, because it's happened to us. So you're like, oh.
Tell us about that experience. Well, it's very stressful. I mean, these companies will hound you, will call you. This one in particular called and messaged and called and messaged, and they threatened, we're going to put the attorneys and you're going to have all these, attorneys fees. And I'm like, what the heck, man? So they said you had, I forget the timeline, but they give you a timeline. Yeah, and they say, and it's a short time, very short term, like 10 days, 15 days, 30 days. And they say the deed needs to transfer now, or else you have to pay it off.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just refinanced in that situation.
Or they send you to foreclosure, like they will they will sick their attorneys on you. Yeah. So we started getting phone calls, and so we ended up having to just get the loan and talk to the seller again, say, hey man, what do we need to do? But this is why we have good relationships with our sellers. So we were able to do that, send paperwork to the mortgage company and shush them for a little while. But some of these are very aggressive, and they don't like the strategy. Even though you are able to do it, it all depends on the mortgage company you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could be making the payments without any problem, which is what we were doing.
They don't care.
And it was just somebody went through it, saw that the deed was transferred, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, usually by you just making the payments, you should be fine. But every once in a while.
So what are some exit strategies you would consider when you buy a Sub2?
It depends. You can literally do
Ask
everything.
All of them.
You can do flips. You can do owner finance. You can do rentals. You can do anything really. I mean, it's endless. I mean, even if you wanted to keep it as a homestead, I mean, there's a ton of different ways depending on where it's at and what it does. I mean, from group living to everything. I mean, even if you wanted to tear it down and do new, I don't know. I mean, it just it's endless, and just that's why we pay attention to the market and see where it's going to be able to determine what we're going to do.
Right. And I think it's endless because it requires less money of you up front. So that's why it is a great strategy, because it allows you to do so many more things. Because as opposed to, let's say, doing a cash offer, and let's say you don't have the money to pay it and you get a loan. Well, then here you are paying your interest for however many months it's going to take. As opposed to, okay, well, even if you ask for a loan for 30, 40,000, well, it's a much lower amount that you're paying in the meantime.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna like flip it, right? It's better to have a $1,000 payment than a 2,000 with the lender, right? With the hard money lender or something like that. So it just depends. But yes, every strategy requires education and for us to know the market for sure. But you can do anything with it, really.
Yeah. So to summarize, it's a powerful strategy. It's a really good tool. If we're facing the right situation, it would be very useful, especially if there's not a lot of equity. Then like a lot of times we're looking at what short sale or sub two. If sub two doesn't work, it's like short sale or wrap.
Yeah,
that's probably all we can do. We've had a lot of these leads that we've been talking to.
Yes, and they're good. I mean, you can make money, but it's longer processes,
Yeah. Well, thank you, both of you, for joining us and sharing about Subject 2. And for anybody that's interested in connecting with Rachel and Chris, what's a good email that they can reach out to you?
You can do R as in Romeo, C as in Charlie, RC at candidrei.com.
That's good. That's a really easy to remember email. All right, guys. Let's stay in touch. We might have more deals for you. We'll talk about this particular deal, whether it works out or not. It's certainly a good case study. And
for sure.
Don't forget their physical in-person meetup. You can meet them in person in Katy. That's next Thursday. Is that right?
And the 13th.
The 13th.
Yeah, so 2 weeks. Yes.
2 weeks.
So it's in about 2 weeks. So maybe we'll meet each other in person soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye.
Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.